So, dear students, I welcome you all to the day 2 of our orientation program that we are conducting from yesterday. So, today we have the special guest, uh, Mr. Paveen Kole sir. Let me introduce first of all. He is a superintending engineer at Water Resources Department, Government of Maharashtra. He's a well-known personality. He's again a rank holder in uh, MPSC, that is Engineering Services. Also, he is a gold medalist at university. So, looking to his academics as well as practice and his professional career, he is at top. So, today we are very fortunate that we are having a Kole sir with us, and we have the opportunity to listen his experiences about decision making, about administration, and all, and about academics, yes, as well. So I welcome Praveen Kole sir to this online virtual platform on behalf of MIT OE and Department of Civil Engineering. And I request Praveen Kole sir to please take the charge and start the session.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Sagar sir. It's my pleasure to be with you. And let me share the screen.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, is my screen visible? And my
Yes.
presentation is in full screen?
Yes, yes. It is in presentation is your in slideshow mode, and your voice is
Yeah,
also audible.
yeah, good. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So, my target is to have share my experience, my student life, my academic life, and project the career opportunities in civil engineering domain. So
Yes.
if you have any question, so I urge you to please note down this question, and I request you to ask the question at the end of the my presentation. So friends, welcome to the world of engineering, and in due course of time you will realize the power of engineering. So in this journey you will definitely create your future, you will shape your career, and by the same time you also shape the future of our country. So you are participating in the development of our country. And at this outset, let me explain three important fundamental things or concepts. So when I went for my interview at IIT Kanpur for MTech admission, so the first question which was thrown to me was the what is the difference between science, engineering, and technology? And at that time, I got confused because these three terms seems very similar. They are having overlaps on each other, but I could not answer in a very specific manner what is the difference between these three terms. So, in order to avoid such situation in your life, and since you will be in this engineering profession throughout your life, so I decided to keep this slide so that you will have understanding of these three terms. So, friends, science is understanding the natural rules. It is very simple. How this world behaves, what are the forces acting on this world, what are its reaction, how this there is a balance or equilibrium in this world, how this world behaves, each and everything. The understanding of natural principle encompasses the science part. Then what is engineering? In engineering, we apply the principles of science in order to make our life more safe and comfortable. So what human did in the last several centuries, he tried to understand the scientific phenomenon across the globe, across this world or across this universe, and he tried to devise some mechanism in order to use the scientific principle and make our life more safe and more comfortable. Because in earlier time the human being lived in the jungle, At that time, there is no security, no safety, no comfort. So now we are living in the urban city. We have home, we have hospital, we have railway network, transportation network, everything. So now our life is more safe as compared to that period, and it is more comfortable. So in engineering, we basically try to apply the scientific principle in order to devise some structure, some machine, or some instrument, or some technology, so that our life becomes more safe and comfortable. Then what is technology? And fortunately, you will get a degree of bachelor of technology in civil engineering. So there is a degree known as a bachelor of engineering, that is B in civil engineering, and BTech in civil engineering. So what is the difference? In technology, you also study the natural rules, then application of these natural rules, and the you also try to execute the outcome of engineering design. So technology is a slightly higher version where you also consider how to make this happen. So whatever you had designed in an engineering phase, how to implement that you also study. So that's why the technology is also very important. So now I will give some insight about the our engineering profession. So friends, you will realize that doctors will earn doctors this profession will earn from diseases. So during this last 2 years pandemic period, you will realize that the medical profession earn from the diseases, spread of diseases. So there is no good or bad from the profession as such, but this is just one of the perspective. Then lawyers earn from conflicts. If there are more conflicts, there will be more income to the lawyers. But engineering is a profession in which engineer earns from prosperity. So engineers will get a bread and butter only when there is a development. So because of this fact or this perspective, we should feel very proudful for being engineer. And but at the same time, let me explain the concept of definition of degrees. So what I mean to say, suppose you get a degree of bachelor of engineering or bachelor of technology, then you might feel that you know everything, and this I am telling from my experience. When I graduated as a bachelor of engineering, I thought that I know everything because I can solve any problem. It problem may be from reinforced concrete, problem may be from steel structure, problem may be from soil mechanics. These are the name of subject you will learn in the due course of time. And when I became an engineer, I thought that I can solve any problem in this world. But as soon as I completed my masters, I realized that I know something in my domain, because engineering is a vast field and you cannot understand or cannot know each and everything from each field. Now I am pursuing PhD and I realize that I know nothing, because in this world there are thousands of research paper being presented across the globe. So I cannot understand the each and every sector, each and what is happening in concrete, what is happening in geospatial technologies, what is happening in surveying, what is happening in soil mechanics. So I have very little knowledge of the engineering profession. But what is important, the attitude of I want to learn is the most important. So I urge you to have this attitude that I know nothing but I want to learn, and keep this attitude throughout your career, throughout your life. Remember friends, more you study, more you know how little you know. Because what happens, if you have little knowledge, you think that I know everything. But as soon as your knowledge potential increases, you realize that how little you know. So that's why always try to learn something new daily. And nowadays you have opportunity of having other resources apart from college life. You can use YouTube, you can use edx online platform like edx, coursera, nptel. Through that platforms you can learn any subject of your interest. And friends, don't have a habit that I will study only in civil engineering, because as in the first slide we discussed that there is a science, there is engineering, and there is a technology. And as an engineer, you should know how engineering and the scientific phenomenon occurs. So you should have some understanding of the physics, chemistry, biology, environment, water, and then you devise your own thoughts about this principle. So in this academic life, what we had done, we had break down the surrounding or environment into different branches. For example, engineering is a branch, one of the segment, science is another segment, art is another segment, commerce, legal, law. These are the branches of the academics. So these branches are developed or decided based on the specialization perspective. But what happens if we get involved in one such segment? We generally ignore other branches. But in reality, it is not like that. For example, if you are a civil engineer and you are given a responsibility of construction of dam, so in that case, you have to consider the ecology, you have to consider the climate change, you have to consider the earthquake forces, you have to consider the legal social aspect. You should be competent to know the legal complication. You should be aware of the social structure of the society. So it is not so as a engineer having only technical knowledge is not that useful in current scenario. You should have you may be a master of none, but you should know many subject add together. And if you have to take a decision, now you have ample resources, like you have internet, you have social, you have Google, you can have users, Google Scholar, or there are research papers, and you can have a collaborative learning. So it is not expected that you alone can implement a project. So as a team, you have to work, and while executing a project, you can learn many things. So in this part, in the upcoming part, I will give some tips regarding study, how you should focus on studying habits. So friends, let's discuss a concept of how to talk with optimum study. So is there any difference between minimum study and optimum study? Yes, there is definitely a difference. So in order to understand what is difference between these two terms, let's understand this phenomenon using a graph. So consider a graph as shown here. On the x-axis of this graph, there is an input, that is whatever study effort you devote for your study, and on the and the y-axis there is output, means result. That means on the x-axis, suppose you are studying for 2 hours, what will be your marks? Suppose you study for 3 hours, what will be your marks? So there is a scientific study which shows that there is a relation between the input and output, and that is that in our case the input is a study effort and output is a result. So scientifically it has been observed that study result curve look like this. So this is very interesting curve. In this curve, on if on x-axis, if you study, give minimum study effort, if you study for only 5 or 10 minutes a day, or if there is a lack of concentration, then obviously it will result less marks. So less input results in less output. But on the other hand, if your inputs are on the extreme side, if they are at the highest point, then also your output may not be maximum. Your output may be average, because of you get be fatigue, might be get stressed out, you might get frustrated, and because of this your efficiency decreases. On this curve, there is one point, when you study at that level, your output is a maximum. So in our life, we have to look, we have to observe our habits, observe our daily schedule, and devise a methodology so that if you study for only 2 hours a day, then also you will get maximum marks. So this is a trial and error method, and once you becomes a champion in this analyzing self and implementing or correcting yourself, the removing the bad habits, then you will understand, if you study for 2 hours you will get a maximum marks. So my entire focus is to finding out this optimum point for your life. Then I will try to give a formula for success. If you want to be a successful in your life, there are three things which are integral part of success. What are these three things? So success is, since we are you are going to be an engineer, I will try to put this formula in mathematical form. So success is a byproduct of intelligence, hard work, and attitude. So carefully observe this formula. This is a very interesting formula. What this formula says, there are three things which are mandatory for being a successful engineer. What are these three things? First, you should be intelligent. Second, you should work hard. And last is you should have positive attitude across the for any challenge to be faced. So let's understand one by one. Intelligence. So in this world, everybody is intelligent. The problem is we don't explore our potential. Have you heard about the story of Einstein? He was the greatest engineer, greatest scientist of this world. And when it has been said that when he died, his brain was dissected, and scientists or doctors found that only 15% of his brain was utilized while carrying out the research. So if Einstein uses only 15% of his brain power and he develops so high level theories, you just imagine how much brain power we are utilizing. We are performing at the lowest level. Our efficiency is a hardly single digit. So what I am trying to say that everybody in this world is intelligent. The dimension of intelligence may be different. Unfortunately, our academic system is such that you have to mug up the things and you have to reproduce these things at the time of examination. But intelligence is not only about the memory, but what I feel that intelligence is uh, about the memory, understanding, storing of the things, interlinking of the things, and reproducing at appropriate point. So my urge is to you that just Google the how to improve your intelligence, how to develop your intelligence habits, and I feel that you will get another perspective. So remember that everybody is intelligent in this work. Our approach is to find out how I should explore this intelligence. Now, second thing, hard work. So have you seen any labor working at the construction site? So who is working hard? You or that labor? Definitely that labor is working very hard. But whether he is successful, this means that although hard work is required for getting success, our hard work, the quantum or the nature of our hard work is very different than the nature of hard work carried out by the labor. So our hard work is in the perspective of the concentration. It's in the perspective of the time you spent for the studying. The is in the perspective of the your devotion for the study. So hard work is not that you should be sweated or something like that. Your attitude for the study, your patience for the study is counted for success. And last is a attitude. Attitude means your approach for study, why you are studying, whether you are forced to become an engineer, that's why you are studying, or whether you really want to be a good civil engineer. So what is your perspective, whether you are studying for getting good salary, good post, that also matters. So what I feel that your attitude must be such that you should become a civil engineer in order to make this society good, a pleasant place, more safe place, more comfortable place, and you should bring happiness in society. Our society should get developed, the standard of living of the society should be increased. So that should be our purpose. So these three things are very important for achieving a success in your life, not only in academic life. And you will realize that if any one ingredient is missing, suppose attitude is missing, then it is a multiplying formula. So there are three terms in multiplying effects. So if attitude is zero, success will be zero. So in the next part, what I will do, I will modify this formula of success and I will add one term. So as I said, there are three basic terms. First is intelligence, second is hard work, third is attitude. I will add another term, 1 plus smartness. This is very smart formula. If you are 0 degree smart, then also you will get some success, correct? But if you are 1 degree smart, your smartness level is of 1 degree, then 1 plus 1 becomes 2, and that's why you become a twice successful, keeping all other things constant. So it is very important to understand what contributes this smartness. Smartness does not mean looking good, wearing very smart clothes, talking fluently in English. That is not the meaning of smartness. So from my perspective, there are 10 basic things in order to be a smart person. So first ingredient for smartness is common sense. Second is vision. Third is discipline. Fourth is teamwork. Fifth is courage to face challenge. Sixth is good health. Seventh, do not reinvent wheel. Eighth, get it right first time. Ninth is time management, and last is computer skill. So I will devote some time in discussing all these 10 fundas. So first is common sense. When I was at IIT Kanpur, my professor, my guide gave me this theorem or theory that common sense is the most uncommon thing in this world. We think that what is a big deal in using a common sense, but there is a really big deal. So the people who gets overburdened with the knowledge, they generally underestimate the common sense perspective. So that's why while taking any decision, whether it is a professional decision, academic decision, or engineering decision, or whether taking a personal life decision, you should keep your common sense at a place and you should think from that perspective. And remember, common sense is not so common in this world. Second important characteristics is a vision. Vision is the art of seeing things that are invisible to others. So the things you should foresee the future. You should anticipate the future. So the greater the anticipated future, if that future is matching with the real future, then uh, your possibility of becoming a successful increases. For example, if you see 10 years from now, there will be different world, because there will be the artificial intelligence, there will be the IoT, there will be the more technological advancement, there will be driverless cars. And so if you are having current level understanding in your mind, the future might be different. So you should, at this stage, you should look for the future, what future will be look like, and what job opportunity I will get. And if you are successful in visualizing the future, then you will be successful. Third is discipline. Although you are hard work, you are working very hard, if you are lacking in discipline, then it will not result in positive outcome. So discipline is a bridge between goals and accomplishment, and hence you should have a proper discipline. Next attitude, next characteristics is the teamwork. Generally, we work very good in isolation. When I is replaced by we, illness become wellness. So if you want to be a really successful person, you should work as a team leader or a member of team or a doer, whatsoever that team requires. If you are fulfilling that role, then your team will perform good. And in future, your task is to perform in a team. So independently you cannot do many things, but as a team you can do a lot of things. So that's why you should inculcate the capabilities of a leader or team worker. This is a warning is that there are challenges in your life. The career will not be very easy. Your academic part might be comparatively easy, but when you enter in the professional world, there will be challenges. Good health, this is very important. So many people spend their health for gaining wealth, but when they get the wealth, they again regain they lose their health in order to get the wealth. So this is the right time to work on your health, have a proper health. Being a civil engineer, you will not sit on in an air conditioned office. You have to visit the site, you have to visit the inspect the foundation, you have to climb the 20-30 stairs at a day and come back. So you should have a good health. Next is that do not reinvent field. Do not waste resources. So whatever activity you want to do, you just study how other people perform in this domain. Learn from them, understand the best practices in this world, and learn from others. Do not get it right first time. So in this is a concept wherein you are expected to do the best, to forecast the best solution for a given problem in a first time manner. So there should not be a draft or there should not be trial and error method. Your approach should be such that you should deliver a best solution in a first attempt. Time management is a very important in this world. Have understand your daily activities, understand the time killing habits, eliminate those, and also have personal time. And last is a computer and internet skill. This is in this world, if you have these skills, you will not never will be alone. You will learn many things online and you should explore these possibilities. Now I will tell the stair method of goal achievement. Since you are a second you are in second year, you should have a project a small goal for yourself. So I will present a stair method of goal achievement. So consider a staircase and you are standing at the bottom of the staircase. So what I request you to set a small goal at the first step and work hard and get it done. What it will give you lot of confidence because you achieve that aim. Make habit of celebrating every success point. Celebrate that. Then set next higher level goal and get it done. So in this way, you should proceed in step by step manner. Never try to jump, because if you jump at higher level, because if you fail in that attempt, you will reach at the bottom. So most important is have a higher aim, because you have visualized the future. Your ultimate aim is look situated at the top, but your journey is step by step. Remember, not failure but low aim is crime in this world. So your aim should be at the highest point and your journey should be step by step. Now I will discuss some strategies for approaching the syllabus. So how your syllabus, and this strategy will be very useful for attempting a competitive examination or attempting examination like GATE. So what I request you to please go through the complete syllabus. Since you are a second year student, you should know what subject you will learn during the course of time. What will be subject for second year, first semester, second year, second semester, third year, fourth year, and that like on. And what are the specialization in this course. So at this time, you may not understand each and everything, but there is a YouTube, there is a Google. You just Google that subject and you just try to understand what foundation engineering means. What are the major topics in foundation engineering? If you have idea of the all the subjects of the engineering, and if you correlate and link each subject with other subject, then your understanding will enhance and there is no need to remember anything, because if you have conceptual understanding in your mind, at any time you can call the that concept and take a decision. So please go through entire syllabus, also go through the previous year question paper. So from after going through last year question papers, you will realize the important and urgent topics from the syllabus. So what is important topic? The important topic is important from exam point of view. So paper setter or examiner generally ask some repetitive questions. So there are some topics in our syllabus which the possibility of asking question from that topic is much higher. So you should understand the important topic. And what is urgent topic? The urgent topic is that topic which is not important from examination point of view, but it is important from understanding point of view. So that topic may not be asked in the examination, but it is very much useful for enhancing your understanding. So if you classify your syllabus in these two categories, next target is to divide this our syllabus into 4 quadrants. What is the 4 parts? First part is a important topic and urgent topic. Means it is important from examination perspective and urgent from understanding point of view. Second category is important. It will be asked in the examination, but it is not urgent. There is no dependency on this topic. Third is not important. The topic may not be asked in the examination, but it is urgent. If you don't study this topic, you will not understand the concept. And last is a neither important not urgent. And if you devise this strategy, the last point is to have a approach for studying. So what I request you just divide this your syllabus into 4 quadrants and you devote 50% time and energy on important and urgent topic. If you do this, you will easily get first class in your examination. You will get good marks. If If you want to be a good engineer, then you should also concentrate on quarter 2 and quarter 3. That is topics which are important but not urgent, and topic which are not important but urgent. So you devote 20% time for this activity, and if time permits, then you can go for the neither important nor urgent topic. So if you have this strategy for your study, then your academic life will be much easier and simpler, and you will have a proper planning. And just remember this sentence in your life: it is not necessary and possible also to command whole syllabus. So our target is to not command whole syllabus, because in our life, everything, all the books, all the resources, all the research papers will be available in front of you. You should know how to use this planning. So how to plan for your activities, how to plan for your career. So what happens, people generally overestimate themselves and they create a fantastic plan. But what happens, by some time, when some time passes, they understand that they are lagging from their plan. So initially this may happen, but after some time, if you try to correct this plan, if you reschedule your activities, then planning becomes your habit. So I sincerely urge you to prepare a plan for your entire academic life, starting with second year, third year, fourth year. Prepare this plan in Excel sheet. So what activity, what subject you will study in second year, what will be the tentative timeline. So it may look very funny at this page, at this stage, but in order to get a proper idea of overall domain, you should make a long plan, very long time based plan. And remember, planning is not required only for study. This is a lifetime activity. Each and every point you should have a plan. Suppose, for example, for my today's, there might be several meetings, there might be several visit. I have to visit to Mantralayam for attending a meeting. I have to visit to Solapur for inspection of dam or canal. So if I don't have a plan for that, my activities will mismatch. And in this planning, you have to consider your personal time, your hobbies, everything. You have to spare each and every time, because once you pass this moment, you will regret that why you had not enjoyed the college life. So while having a focus on academic life, side by side, you should enjoy your personal life and with friend and social. Be a social. As I mentioned, there are two types of planning. First is long-term planning. Have a plan for your entire academic life. And as I mentioned that your plan should reflect the STAIR method of goal achievement. So there should be some goal at the top. When you pass out from your engineering college, what is your goal? How you will achieve that goal? If you want to go for MTech or PhD, then your goal direction will be different. If you want to be a person who want to work in government domain, his line of sight may be different. If anybody want to start a new business, his direction may be different, but at least have a plan. And short-term plan is a plan for a week or a semester, and it will be a very detailed plan. Do you know that in Japan or in France, they devote 80% time in planning and 20% time in implementation? Unfortunately, we India, we generally fail in plan. We devote only 10% time in planning and 90% time in executing, because if our plan is not proper, our execution is not proper. So at the stage of planning, you have to foresee the future, what may happen, what may go wrong, and you have to make the provision for risk, all these risks, and anticipate that risk. So plan for your activity. So at your level, your planning is comparatively very easy. What I suggest, you just analyze yourself, how you are spending your time for 24 hours. So this pie chart shows the time. Some time you will spend some time for college hours, some time for self study, some time for sleeping, some time for social activities with friends, and there will be a portion where time will be spent in a frustration and depression. Understand? Frustration is an integral part of our life. Don't worry, but try to come out from that. So God had given, or this nature has given 24 hours for all the human beings, all the living elements in this world. So our approach should be such that how to minimize this pie, frustration and depression pie, how how to minimize sleeping pie, how to enhance the study pie, or how to effectively, if you study for, as we discuss in optimum study, there is no necessary of having a big study time. You should find what is optimal study period for you, and you should inculcate that time in your schedule. And if you do this, there will be no frustration and depression. As a time, our time is limited, take smart decisions and make sacrifices. So whatever, if you would sacrifice for social activity, I will not say that sacrifice 100%, but even though if you sacrifice this time by 50%, then this will pay you back in future. Remember, there is no free lunch in at IIT Kanpur. I learned this concept from Professor K Dev. He is a well-known person from genetic algorithm optimization field. So he taught us that there is no free lunch. Whatever you get in your life has a price tag attached to it. Be ready to pay the price and never expect free. So if you want to be a successful, to be a to have a good career, then you should have spare for that. You should pay for that, and payment is may not be in terms of money. The payment may be in terms of hard work you give. The payment may be in terms of time you spend, and you become a good successful people. Next point is a reference book. So friends, I had purposely put this slide because market is flooded with number of books. So your selection of book is a prime important, because your success is dependent on it. So how I will not tell which book is to be selected for any subject. So I will give you fundamental understanding. So what how I select a book for a subject? Just go to library or any bookstore, open a book at random page, open any random page and start reading the page. And if you are comfortable in understanding the concept mentioned in that on that page, if your language is very lucid and very understandable, then that book is very good. See, friend, what happens in my college life also, the selection criteria for selecting a book was very easy. The thickness of book is directly proportional to the possibility of its selection. But friends, I realized that this was a wrong approach, because we have two types of books. First is a reference book, another is a textbook. In reference book, each and every concept is elaborated in very detail, so that our understanding and our thinking, our imagination increases. In textbook, only concept is mentioned, and all the background information is deleted. So what happen if you study from the textbook? You may have to mug the concept and you will not understand the concept. If you want to understand the concept, you should refer the reference book. It may be very heavy, very thick, but remember, this is your time. In one of the slide, or I may not be mentioned that word, मराठीमध्ये असं आपण म्हणतो की जेव्हा तुम्ही शांततेच्या काळामध्ये तुम्ही जर घाम गाळला, तर युद्धाच्या वेळी तुम्हाला रक्त सांडण्याची वेळ येत नाही. सो फ्रेंड, दिस इज युअर पीस पिरियड. This 3 year, 4 year is a peace period. You should inculcate your skills, you should enhance your skill, and you should have in-depth understanding. And this understanding, don't worry about the examination, don't concentrate on the marks. If you have proper understanding, this will pay you back in future when you take the decision. Because if I have to pass a foundation for a dam, it is not possible for me to open a textbook on a reference book from any author, big author, and read the concept, because I don't have that much time. But if you have proper concept, I know that what point I should look, I should what care I should take at the site, what is the geology at the site, what is the rock structure at the site. So this concept will help you in shaping your life and career. And also remember, it is better to read a single book twice than reading two books at once. So always have a revision of, use the same book, carefully select a book and have a revision from same book. Never take a book or pencil in your hand while reading. Write whatever you understand or not understand on the page. This will help you in next revision. Generally what happens when you study, this will happen when you study this from second year. When you study the strength of material topics or reinforced concrete design, you feel that you are understanding the concept. But when you close the book, you will think that, and when you reopen the book, you might feel frustrated. So So you might think whether I had read this or not. So if you have some notes written on the side page of that book, you will realize that I had some time ago, I had read this page. So this mental feeling will give some satisfaction. And there is a second purpose of telling this. Second is when you sit for the examination, you do not remember what is written on the paragraph, but you will definitely remember what you had written on the side of that book. So and if you remember that keyword, that flowchart, that figure, you will definitely recollect the concept, and you are in a position to write the answer. Search on internet to get. So what is the best approach? Best approach is to go to YouTube, just learn the concept in a conceptual framework, and then you read the book. So you will have proper understanding why we are studying this, and then you can recollect the things. So this building block approach will help you. Next point, I will focus on notes. So I think I have 15 minutes, so I will go a little faster, but whatever I want to say, I want to convey to you the most important point I had already conveyed, so I will go slightly faster. So notes, I urge you, I request you to use your own notes. Don't copy from others. So note what is the philosophy of taking notes. So whatever you understand, whatever you collect, whatever you gather from the discussion or from that reading of book, you should note down. So note should not be a copy paste from the books. You should not note down each and every sentence from the book. So whatever your understanding should be reflected into notes. So that's why I am saying that do not use others notes, because in that note the person's understanding is reflected. Your understanding may not be at the same level of that person. So while taking a notes, there should be a three version of notes. And why I am suggesting this, if you are trying for competitive examination, this strategy will be very helpful, because in competitive examination you have to attempt all the 40 subject you have learned during the last 4 years of your engineering course. You have to attempt this subject only in 2 days, and if you don't have proper short note, you cannot recollect or revise the things. And if you don't revise the things, you cannot attempt the question paper. So first version note. So when you start your career in a second year, open a textbook, read the chapter, and try to concise that chapter into 5 or 10 pages. This in second version, go through chapter, just have a look at chapter, have a detailed look at your notes, and write down all the chapter in 3 page. And the last version is just have half page of that chapter. So entire syllabus or entire subject will be converted into 3 or 4 pages. So keep these 3 or 4 pages with you forever. If you have these 3 or 4 pages forever with you, suppose you want to attempt any competitive exam, if you read one bullet point or one acronym or one short form or one flow chart, you will realize or understand or recollect entire concept. So this strategy will be helpful for your future. Before going to any exam, close all the books and have look on final notes. So whatever 3 or 4 pages you are having, these notes will be helpful for you. And this is a link for downloading my notes. I had uploaded my all civil engineering notes on this website. You can download it, and I'll also, as I suggested, that you can have a look at methodology, the way I had taken down the notes, although they are much more elaborative. So during the course of time, I realized that there is no need of having so long notes. So this habit will help you in professional life also, because while having a high level meeting, the discussion with the donor agencies like World Bank, we don't have a time to note down each and every sentence. So we just note down a word or bullet point or draw a flow chart. So that flow chart will help our understanding in implementation. As I told, there are several resources available online. You can explore YouTube, NPTEL, Coursera, EDX, and if you are aspirant of competitive examination, then you should look for the employment news newspaper, visit UPSC and MPSC website, and be a diamond in this in the stretch of this 4 year, or when you become an engineer, there will be tough times. जनरली मेरे साथ ऐसा होता था कि एग्जाम के कुछ दिन पहले थोड़ा सा फ्रस्ट्रेशन हो जाता था. सो हाउ टू फेस दिस? So there is a simple answer. Don't worry, it's natural. If you are not feel stressful, if you are not frustrated in your life, then realize that there is something abnormal. You should have a stressful feeling, because in our psychology or our construction is, our mind is constructed in such a way that we work better way or optimum way in stress condition. So our mind is like that. So if you are not stressful, you will not be serious, you will not work hard, you will not be properly focused. So there is a frustration, necessary condition is a be a frustrated, but don't remain in that frustration phase forever or for a long time. After frustration, try to come out and assess the problem. Why I get frustrated? What is the main problem, and how should I tackle this problem? Remember, a piece of coal which perform well under temperature and pressure known as diamond. And being an engineer is like being a diamond. And in the due course of time, in the upcoming 3 years, there will be much more pressure. There will be heated argument with your friends, with your teacher, with external examiner. But you have to sustain these pressures. And if you become, if there is a no pressure, there will be no diamond. So have an attitude that I want to be a diamond. So I should sustain the pressure, upcoming pressure. So friends, till this time I tried to give you some of the tips for your study, and these tips were not taken from any personal development book. These are from my self experience, and I shared my experience with you. And in the next 10 minutes or so, I will focus on career guidance. And see friends, there are 5 basic possibilities for career for a civil engineer. First is a self-employment. You can have your own business, construction business, consultancy business, or advisory business, or quality control consultancy. Then you can work in a software or information technology related field. This is the upcoming field. There are many possibilities, many opportunities in this field. You should have, as I mentioned, if you are a visionary, then you should explore the field. What is coming in the remote sensing? What is drone? How you can use the drone technology in construction? How you can use artificial intelligence in construction management, procurement management, tendering? So these software and IT related is a big domain, and future will be in that domain. Then academics. What are the possibilities for careers? There are great careers in academics, research and development. Then management, employment in core engineering field. So we will discuss these one by one. So employment in core engineering field. And, see friend, there are basically three possibilities. If you want to be a civil engineer, and if you want to work in the engineering domain, then you can work in private sector. Private sector means this sector is owned by a private person or a company. Then government sector, which is owned by the government, and third is a public sector. Public sector is a government sector, but which is performing like a private sector. And in government sector, you can have a job as an engineering graduate or as a non-engineering graduate. So private sector, what are the opportunity? First is the infrastructure sector, roads, highways, airport. Then manufacturing sector like steel manufacturing or oil industries. Then you can have a career in banking and finance, and there is a career in consultancy. So these are the keywords. You just Google the keywords, opportunities for civil engineering in infrastructure sector. Then you will realize the various opportunities. In public sector, there are several government companies like NTPC, IRCON, Engineers India Limited. In oil sector, there are companies like ONGC, IOCL, HPCL. In public sector, there are companies like National Highway Authority of India, NSPC, Airport Authority of India, and there are companies like SAIL, BHEL, right? And these are very reputed companies. You will get very good packages. You will get career-wise, your path will be very high level, and you will get good perks. In government sector, as I mentioned, there are two ways to work in government sector. First is a non-engineering sector. So in non-engineering sector, you can appear UPSC civil services examination. So civil services examination, you can be a IAS, IPS, IFS officer, or there are several cadres in that domain. If you appear for the MPSC examination conducted by Maharashtra Public Service Commission, you can become a deputy collector, deputy SP, sales tax inspector, and there are other posts. In government sector, if you want to work as an engineer, then there are also opportunities. If you apply for UPSC, then you can work in the Central Public Work Department as a IES cadre. So there is a cadre known as a Indian Engineering Service, IES, and from that service you can join any department like CPWD, Railway, Central Water Commission, Military Engineering Services, and so on. There are so many cadres. On the same line, if you want to work in the state government, you have to appear for the Maharashtra Engineering Service Examination. If you qualify this examination, you can get an appointment in Public Works Department, Water Resources Department, and Maharashtra Jeevan Pradhikaran. And recently there is one another department, Maharashtra Water Conservation Department. So in that department you can also get opportunity. Even in MIDC, the Metro, there are also Mahajanko, there are also possibility to work as an engineer. So I will devote some time on Maharashtra Engineering Service examination. So as I mentioned, there are 4 departments for which this examination is conducted. The first is Water Resource Department, WRD. It is also known as a Jal Sampada, Irrigation or Patbandara Department. Then Public Works Department, Sarvajanik Bandhkam Vibhag. Then there is a Maharashtra Jeevan Pradhikaran under Pani Purvata व Swachhata Vibhag. And last is a Jalasandaran department, Water Conservation Department. So what is the hierarchy of posts in this department? At the top level, there is a secretary. Then there is an executive director or a director general. Then there is a chief engineer. Then there is a superintending engineer. And then executive engineer, deputy engineer. So as a MPSC graduate, MPSC qualified person, you can be appointed as an assistant executive engineer or assistant engineer grade 1 or assistant engineer grade 2. So if you become qualified as an assistant engineer grade 2, you will be promoted as a deputy engineer. After your promotion from deputy engineer, you will become an executive engineer. After executive engineer, you will become a superintending engineer. And there are recruitment rules for each and every promotion. So then there is a sectional engineer. This is also post junior engineer equivalent post, and at the last of engineering domain there is a junior engineer. So junior engineer is an entry level post. If you are a diploma holder, then you can apply for this post and you can become a junior engineer. And after promotion of junior engineer, he or she becomes a sectional engineer. And as I mentioned, there is an entry level post of assistant engineer grade 2 as well as assistant executive engineer and assistant engineer grade 1. So these 3 are entry level posts and recruited from MPSC Maharashtra Engineering Service Examination. So as discussed, there are 3 types of posts. First is assistant executive engineer, AEE. In short, we will call it as AEE. The person who is appointed as a AEE, he will be promoted as executive engineer after 4 years of service. A person who is appointed as assistant engineer grade 1, he will be promoted as per seniority of AE1 cadre, and approximately it takes 7 to 15 years. For assistant engineer grade 2, he will be promoted as a deputy engineer and then executive engineer. So it will take 10 to 15 years for his promotion. So see, there is a merit list for this post, and you should, while filling the application form for this MPSC, you should understand the relevance of this post and how you should give the priority for this post. So MPSC conducts specific examination for recruitment of Maharashtra Engineering Service cadre engineers. So this examination is known as Maharashtra Engineering Civil Services Examination Group A. And for junior engineer examination, the junior engineering post, the only diploma holders can apply. And for this ME Maharashtra Engineering Service Examination Group A post, the degree holders has to apply, and they can be appointed as AEE, AE1 or A2 depending on the merit list. So what is the eligibility for applying for this examination? First, he should be a citizen of India, and there is an age limit. Minimum age limit is 19 years and maximum age limit is 38 years for general candidate. And there are relaxation for the OBC, sport person and ex-army and specially challenged candidate. Then the education qualification is Bachelor of Engineering in Civil Engineering or equivalent. So Bachelor of Engineering is Civil Water Management, Civil and Environment Management, or Structural or Construction Industry Engineering and Technology. And knowledge of Marathi is essential. Last year, students are eligible for pre-exam, but he or she has to be awarded degree before last date of main examination application. I will skip this slide because it will be too early for you to tell these things, and I will also skip this. So basically examination pattern is like this. There will be a preliminary examination which will be common for group A and group B post. It will be a 100-mark examination. This is a screening test. If you qualify the screening test, you will be allowed to appear for the main examination, which is of 400 marks. If you qualify this examination, there will be some cutoff. You will be asked to appear for the interview. It will be individual interview, and marks are, I think it is just 50 marks. It is wrongly mentioned as a 400 marks. The marks are only 50. So finally merit list will be prepared based on your marks in the main examination and marks obtained in the interview. So out of 450 marks, whatever mark you get, that will be your merit number. So I will skip this slide. I will share this presentation with you so that you will get the idea. There will be some cutoffs, and for details, if you want to get further details, you can visit this link, and I had mentioned various details, the last year, the examination pattern, the syllabus, the answer key, question papers, everything is available on this website. Since last 20 years, examination database is available on this link. So after saying so much, if you have a question, what field you should join, just ask one question to your mind: what you want to be after 10 years from now. So have a vision in your mind and foresee yourself, project yourself in future, which post you want. And while projecting yourself, consider your capabilities and limitation, what good points you have, what limited, where you are lacking. You just understand from yourself. And please remember, don't underestimate or overestimate yourself, and your answer will be your career. Remember, this God had created very honorable place for everyone. Our job is to just search for it. Unfortunately, what happens, most people don't approach in right path because they don't foresee the future. They don't realize that I have to travel to that point. So this is the right time. My request is, my sincere request to you all is, after closing this lecture, just note down what you want to become in your life, and then you will get idea. You can explore the idea. And remember friends, you are a creator of your own life. No one can motivate you until you motivate yourself. A talk given by me is just like motivating you for doing good stuff. But if you are not motivated, you will just listen and forget. So don't do that. You can create your own life. And if you have a fear of failure, then in the last part of my presentation, I will take just 1 minute. I will tell story of my life. So this is my story. I joined engineering in 1999, and in the first year I had not concentrated on study. My attitude was not good. I had never worked hard, and I lost all the subjects. So that why in that year 1999 and 2000 I was an ex-student. I lost my 1 year. But as I explained, the staircase method of goal achievement, I decided to so during this phase there was good things happen in my life, and I got guidance from my teachers, and who motivated me to do good things. They inspired me that you are not a person who can lose all the subjects. So you have ability, you just have to concentrate. And that's why I had decided that in the next year I will try to clear all the subjects. And in second year, and I did that. In the next year I cleared all the subjects. In the second year, when I appeared in the second year, my aim was at the next higher level. So after clearing all the subjects, my aim was to become a class topper. And I also work hard. Whatever discussion I had made, I had implemented these lessons phase wise. Of course, it was not possible to implement all the concept, but I learned through my journey of 5 years of my engineering. And I successfully became a class topper. In the third year, I had decided to be a college topper, and I also achieved that. In 2003, I became a college topper among all the branches of engineering. And in the last year, my aim was to be a university topper. And in 2004, I got gold medal for being a university topper in university. And the next higher level goal was attempting GATE examination, and I also had a good scores in GATE examination. I appeared in the for MTech admission at IIT Kanpur, and I completed that course. Meanwhile, I had appeared also Maharashtra Engineering Service Examination conducted by MPSC, and I stood first in Motor Resource Department. And then also, even though I don't stop, because I mentioned you that this is the journey of our life. You should not have a low aim in your life. Although if you even though your goal is rich, you should foresee the future, what good you can do. And I had completed the executive postgraduate program from IIM Indore. Then currently I am pursuing my PhD from IIT Bombay in water management. And meanwhile, I had completed several distance learning courses. So you can, while sitting at the home, you can study various courses, and I did that. So my intention to tell this story is not to tell what I had achieved in my life, but I just want to tell the students who are similar to my background, who are from village, who are having village background. Just I want to tell them it was possible only because of positive attitude and self confidence. Excellence is a journey. It is not a destination. If you achieve good marks in the MPSC exams, it is not a destination. It is just a starting point, or it is just a milestone in your career. You should not stop at that point. It is a journey. There are thousands way to achieve your goal, but you should choose the optimum way. So vision will help you in doing so. Remember, everything is possible in your life. You should have courage to do many things. And at the last, believe in yourself, and I am sure that one day you will be at top. And never, this is the last slide, which gives a message that never feel frustrated and never give up. Always they always have a hope that you will be successful. That's all from my side. Thank you very much, and sorry for exceeding my time by 4 minutes. Thank you, sir, and thank you, friends.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So, on just a note, I would like to thank Korle sir for his time. Besides of his busyness, I know how he's busy in his work. So he have accepted our invitation. So just a concluding remark from my side about the session that we had for the students. Sir have discussed about the multidisciplinary approach. He have started his session with how the multidisciplinary approach nowadays is important. After all, we are the students of civil engineering. It is not at all enough that we should only learn, we should only study about the civil engineering things. So this is the point from which he have started its session. In between, sir have talked about this smartness and its components. So he have elaborated in detail about the teamwork, the soft skills, importance of health, time management, our daily routines, habits to write each and everything on a note, have a note of it on the paper. So this is how he used to he have shared his experiences with his real life examples. How these habits are helping him nowadays, and how the habits have helped him in the past. Again, how to study effectively, this is also he have elaborate. So of course this is very beneficial for you. Just categorize your work in the categories whatever he have explained: urgent, important, urgent, not important, and like this. Again, just a key point that he have mentioned: enjoy the life of student. Later on you will miss that you have not enjoyed the student life. So this is how again one key point I have noted from its session. Again, he have shown the different list of reference books, and he have mentioned the reference of his own web page. So I request every student please go through it. Career opportunities also he have explained. So of course the title of today's session was career opportunities in civil engineering, so he have discussed in detail. And last but not the least, every speaker I observed used to elaborate, used to deliver the success story. But the point of difference I have observed here with the Praveen Kole sir is he have shared the failure study. First of all, how he have converted a failure into the success. So I can say he have shared the failure story first of all, and then how to move from failure to success. This is he have shared with us, and I think this is a great important or the perfect message for today's session, that student, please uh, take this and try to execute these things being shared by sir in your daily life. So on this note, I can conclude this session. So again, I thank Praveen Kole sir on behalf of MIT AOE and Department of Civil Engineering, that he have given the time for us. He have shared his experiences that he have learned since many a days. So we wish you health, sir, and we wish you a great success ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, sir, and wish you all the best, Prince. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.